I feel like I'm not on as much, even though I know that's just in my head because I was just on live. But some of my lives are late, and then I know I probably, just give me a second here. I know I probably, a lot of people don't get me because of the hour that I'm going on. Um, so I'm trying to come on a little bit earlier today. Um, what is this? Yeah, so I'm trying to come on a little bit earlier today. Give me a second, I'm trying to set up my background music here. Make sure I can see my chats as well. Um, I have had so many little things that I want to talk about in the course of the day. Between now and the last time that I went live, because the last time I went live just to make sure that I check in, but I was not necessarily, it wasn't really something that I had sat down and pre-planned. So today, the first thing that I want to talk about is, before I get into the main part of what I want to, the main kind of message I want to impart, the first thing I want to talk about is PTSD. When this thing is going to take an incredible amount of healing. I'm just telling you that right now. I just want you to know. I mean, it's obvious, but I want to say it. I want to actually mention it. It's going to take a lot of healing, a lot of healing. Every month I feel better and better. And I've gotten so calm as to be able to bake. Baking and cooking from scratch, especially when you're cooking foods from cultures that are not your own, and you're not used to it. So with me, I develop recipes, so I always I learn a recipe through and through, and I kind of grade myself on things like the appearance, like how much does it look and taste like restaurant version, etc., etc. So I don't just cook, like I try to master things over time, and that takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of paying attention to detail, and that can really only happen when you're very calm. So me being very calm, I have to relax and I have to really focus on things like timing, measurements, and all that sort of thing. And again, it takes a lot of focus. It really does. So I'm really happy to be in a place where I find I like these things are finally possible for me, that my healing work is working. And healing is not just, oh my God, I'm not being gang stalked every day. I'm so grateful. Healing is literally getting your breath under control, getting anxiety off, under control, not being hyper vigilant. When you are hyper vigilant, it's because your body is in fight mode. Your body is in panic mode, and it's constantly looking behind it to see who's following, who's watching, who's sabotaging. It's always trying to protect and defend itself. And you've lived like that for such a long time that when you finally get to a point where you can relax, where you can walk down the street and not have to check who's following you, you can drive and you haven't looked behind you the entire time. You've even forgotten that you used to have that behavior of looking over your shoulder. That, it takes a lot of healing. It takes a lot of healing. That's the value of healing. Another value of healing is coming out of this and not completely hating humanity. These are the kind of behaviors that you have to learn now. You have to practice now. You have to separate people. You have to be able to tell someone who's a gang stalker and a normal person what are their behaviors, what are their characteristics. You start classifying people. And as you get a little bit of freedom and pull away more and more, you start appreciating the world more, but you also get smarter. Like appreciating the world that normal people have walked around in who've never been gang stalked. They don't know that reality doesn't have to look like this. They don't know that it's possible that their entire sanity can be hijacked by a group of people at any time. They don't know that yet. And now you get to go back to that world and you appreciate it. You appreciate an empty street. You appreciate no one being in your vicinity, but if people are in your vicinity, they could care less about you. They didn't even see you. People looking right through you. People being on their phone. People talking to kids. You appreciate every bit of it. You're outside and you're like, wow. It's like seeing the world again for a first time. It is an amazing feeling. And after doing this much work to get here, it's like, wow, I deserve this. I do. Usually I'm very hard on myself and I don't give myself credit, but this was way too hard not to give myself credit. I realize how incredibly lucky I am. And I also feel this huge sense of obligation to turn around and give the information that I have to people behind me so that you too can get back to your life and you can enjoy the world and you can remember that there's goodness out there and you can have your peace again and you can have your sanity and you can heal in the best way possible, because every facet of this is important. The healing is important, your body is important, your self-image is important, your public image is important. It is important, your public image. It's not completely to be discarded, or else you would be any type of person. A person who is going to go out there and behave in any kind of reckless manner, regardless of if people know or not. Most criminals don't want people to know how bad they are. So that goes to show you, you know, you want to care about who you are. You want to treat people well. You want to have a good relationship and alliances and whatnot. So your public image, all of it, you have to rehabilitate all of it. And part of rehabilitating your public image is speaking up for yourself, getting on a platform like I did, and speaking my truth and telling people what I have been through, how horrible it was. That's what saved me ultimately. These people would never stop, but it's because, you know, it had to start being taken seriously. It was just too loud. It was too much talking. It was too consistent. It wasn't just about speaking my truth once or twice. It was about being consistent about speaking my truth. So there are all kinds of, listen, when God is ready for it to be over, it will be over, and the universe will force change. Nobody goes around the universe. No one can change what the universe has for anybody else. They can try, but if you're not meant to be here, then you won't have to be here. And that's the beautiful part of it. I know that there are rumors that it is not possible, and I'm just here to tell you that that is absolutely not true. It is possible to break out of this. I have. And I'm going to make sure that I put information that is palatable. And having children, I know that nobody learns from hearing something one time. So I repeat a bunch of information over and over until people kind of just get it and just hear it and know it. You know, and people just kind of learn over time, like, what can I heal myself with? I'm also struggling with this issue, then what can I do to heal this issue? What can I do for my anxiety? What can I do for my mental health? What can I do to not completely stop being followed around, but really put a wrench in it? You know, these are the kind of things that I just kind of give out. Every solution that I found, I can go ahead and give it and put it all together so that people that are really suffering from this thing can find some moments of peace, some moments of peace. That's all I can say. Moments of peace. And the more moments of peace you can collect and lace together, the more peaceful of a life you can have while being gang stalked. And that's all I've done. I've closed doors of access to me, and I've collected moments of peace like prized treasures. And if that means peace at home, how do I make peace at home? How do I make peace in public? How do I make peace while driving, etc., etc.? So this is really what you're looking for. I'm gonna make a, I wonder if I should do it today. No, I'm not going to do that live today. I'm going to do another video where I categorize bits of healing and healing sort of strategies. I have talked about them in different videos, but they are embedded in videos that are like an hour or more. So I'm going to make it its own video, pretty short, and then I'm going to link it on my playlist. Anybody who's watching who's new, I have a playlist on my page that's called informational resource, and that is where you find practical information. I break down what gang stalking is, what the actual aim of being gang stalked is. I talk about ways to avoid being detected, ways to kind of gain some privacy on hacked devices. There are just so many things that I talk about that are practical, that have helped me come this far. And even if my information is not a be-all end-all, as I anticipate that it will be challenged and that there will be people who say, well, I have tried this, I think our responsibility is to keep trying different methods. And even if whatever I give is just a foundation for, you know, anyone out there who says, okay, well, you could do this, but you could also do that, and then you could also do that, and then you could also do that. So there's those things. So, you know, there are things that I have yet to implement myself, but I'm in a different stage in my journey with this thing. And it's a beautiful stage to be in because, like I said, a lot of things have stopped on my end. I mean, I can walk the street without being crowded out on the street. And you know, that is, I think, the last frontier of being gang stalked, is not having to experience these weird people all the time. So I'm gonna make a full video about strategies to heal. I'm making it 10 points. A lot of this stuff is spiritual, and that's what you're gonna need. If you're gang stalked, you know about energy work, you know that they do energy work. That's what I give information about, how to clean and heal the effects of the energy that is sent towards you, so that you do not have to be constantly harassed, you know, in your spirit and on your energetic body at all times. Because if they cannot physically get to you, they're going to harass you in your space. They have the ability to do that. And it, you know, especially for me having to come online, it's like they harass you and then they wait for signs of if you're going to talk about it, or if did it work or whatever. So it's like I give information for that. This is a gang stalking page that is heavily spiritual, because it's no way to live without spirituality. That is no way to live. We are more than a physical body. We are more than just our human body. We are largely spirit. That's why we can sense things. That's why we have the ability to touch the other side. And it's not just an ability, it is our birthright to not live this life by ourselves, not play this world by ourselves. You pray about things and then they come. Simple. Your things are supposed to work for you. They are supposed to work for you. So here is something, actually, I'm gonna do this because I had to talk about this. So what I want to talk about today is the correct way to approach, well, it's not the correct way. I'm going to give you my approach to spirituality. Spirituality is something that is neither just good or just bad. And the difference with spirituality versus religion, sorry, my light's falling. The difference between spirituality versus religion is spirituality is not, there's no right or wrong. Everybody finds their own way, has their own interpretation. People get creative with things. It's not like religion at all, where we have to fight. Well, people still do. They want to fight about what's the correct way to do things. And, you know, even in the spiritual community, there are people who approach it more from like a religious point of view. They approach it very dogmatically, very systematically, very procedurally, and it loses a lot of its passion. And I'm not one of these people. I am a self-directed yogi. I don't do yoga, but I meditate all the time, so I call myself a yogi. And so those are the practices that helped me through gang stalking. I met another girl who had survived gang stalking. She was gang stalked 5 years from her company. And here's her story. She had some sort of like an engineering role in her company. And she walked into my store and she spoke her truth, but she was so calm and so sweet and so peaceful. And she said for 5 years she had gone through gang stalking. And we talked about it. And I said, I'm experiencing this. And she's like, I went through all of this. And so I didn't need to be validated that I was gang stalked, but with her saying that, it was like, oh yeah, there's others. This is not just about me. There are a lot of people going through this. And so she told me, I said, why are you so calm? She said, I meditate all the time. And she spoke like an angel. She was like soft spoken and calm. I said, you did 5 years in that company. So apparently what happened, there was something with the software in the company and it was wildly illegal. And they talked to her and she must have expressed a moral feeling that this is not right. And then an executive talked to her after. They had a couple meetings, but they didn't say anything. And then she started being gang stalked. So I don't know if they wanted her out of the company or what the case was, but for 5 years. And she didn't realize she was being gang stalked until after, that she was being abused in her personal life because of her moral standing, her moral take on something. And they also talk about warehouse workers or people who work in huge grocery store or like food chains that are also gang stalked. And it's almost like the CEOs of that company, a whistleblower said that Amazon gives up or volunteers up their employees to be gang stalked and gives them like a whole building, a whole facility to work out of, to test out different things and different methods. So be careful. I can't claim if that is true or not, but that is what a whistleblower said. And his video is still here. I shared it in the community section of my YouTube. You'd have to check to see it. But the gang stalking world is real, and it is, give me a second here, my light. It's very real, and things are absolutely happening. It's not in your head. But part of the reason why I give a lot of the advice that I give is because it is really important to meditate. It is very important to calm your spirit. It is very important to take control over yourself. It is just very important to stay safe and to feel safe in the world. Like, these are things that are kind of non-negotiable to you having a happy life. And I'm sure a lot of people have figured it out by now. Like, you got to feel safe in the world. If you do not feel safe in the world, if you do not feel like you could walk outside and be free, and you know, that's the karma for a lot of the people who did that to me in my city, is that they can't walk outside and be free. They can't. They can't walk outside and be free. They're always worried. They're always concerned about their safety. And that is part of the karma for doing the things that they did to other people, making other people feel unsafe. And so the universe always balances out itself. Though it might seem that bad things go on for a very long time, what I've realized in this situation is that the universe doesn't just take action on situations. You are heard in real time. Not just prayers. Prayer is like a directed conversation. Your thoughts are being monitored at all times. They may not respond back. They may not let you know that you're there, but you always have a consciousness with you. You always have a higher self with you. Whether you listen to it or not, whether you've dumbed it down or not, you know, the prayers are heard, but there needs to be a plan to rectify it. And so certain people need to be put in certain situations for certain situations to get better. because certain people are equipped with the right set of skills to survive that situation and bring justice to it. A lot of people sometimes are placed in a situation, and some of them just could make it, just could. But nothing that is happening is by accident. Everything you go through in life teaches you something else. You are on a perpetual training ground, if you will. All you're doing is learning nonstop. That's all you're doing. Everything before I got to this problem, before I was gang stalked, I already had all the skills to get over gang stalking. I had all the skills to get over every hurdle. I had done it already in my life. I had mastered it. I have mastered the art of being alone. I have mastered discipline. I have mastered being hardworking. I have mastered being resilient. I have mastered being betrayed. I have mastered being talked about. I have mastered having whole groups of people against me at one time, being the most hated. I've mastered relationships to some degree. I don't think anybody could like master relationships totally, but I've mastered knowing what's for me. So you are not put in this situation because you do not have the skills to handle it. You just have to go back into your toolbox and like remember, how do I deal with something like this? And the thing about being a human being is it's so beautiful that you can learn how to master a new skill. That's what you're here for. You can do things you're here to do things that you've never done before. You can Google things, you can YouTube things, you can research, you can educate yourself, you can learn a new skill and then master the skill and then apply it and put it into practice and make it a part of your normal routine. You can continue to upgrade yourself and live a better quality of life, gang stalking or not. Gang stalking or not. So, if you want to know how to start your spiritual journey, I'm going to do like an off the top of my head list. First things first, you need to learn to meditate. So that's one. You got to learn because it is not easy. You have great meditations, you have not so great meditations. I've been meditating for many years and still diligently, I do not miss meditations. I do not care how tired I am. I've had times where I'm tired and then I've had to like pray that I wake up in time to do my meditation because it is very important. You must plug your phone into the socket at some point. It's the same thing. You plug yourself in twice a day, in the morning and in the night. 45 minutes to an hour. So you have to learn how to meditate, okay? This is not just going to be a gang stalking activity. Once it's built into your system, it is lifelong, and that is the way that you should live forever. Because it's important to constantly spend time with yourself, to like check back, to like it's really important. So there's that. So there's learn how to meditate. Then there's a channel on YouTube that I think everybody should watch. It's called Abraham Hicks. And you just need to watch it diligently before and after your meditation. So when I first started, I didn't pray. Did I really pray? Maybe I did. I don't even remember right now. Maybe I did, but it wasn't like... Actually, I did. I did pray. I was praying. You want to pray, you want to watch Abraham Hicks, and you must do at least twice a day with the meditation. Watch one nice good video, practice what she tells you, put it in practice, and then go into meditation. This will teach you how to control your vibration. You need to first learn how to control your vibration, meaning controlling your vibration is like controlling yourself. It is the beginning of self-mastery. In order to control your vibration, you need to control all your bad habits. You need to control all your lower self. You need to master every part of you. Every part of what makes you human needs to be mastered. How you talk to yourself, your internal dialogue, what you're saying in here, what you're giving yourself. Are you feeding yourself? Are you growing yourself? You need to control what you eat, how you eat, when you eat, because a spiritual journey requires fasting. It requires periods of time where you're not eating. How would I describe fasting? Although I do not have some textbook spiritual definition, it's almost like how when you take medication, it says on the bottle, do not eat or drink for 24 hours. Because they don't want anything interacting with the medication. They want it to do its job straight through. There's that. There's also, to me, I look at it as a little sacrifice that you give to God, to let God, I think they said it's like 80% of your immune system even exists because of your digestive system. When your body's, everything that attacks your body comes from the outside. That's why its defenses are the way that it is. Self-contained, not eating, not breathing. I mean, we need from the outside. So we have these systems to protect what comes in. But self-containing, if you didn't breathe, you wouldn't catch colds. That's why if you wear masks, you don't get sick. If you didn't eat, you wouldn't have to worry about parasites. You wouldn't have to worry about poison. You wouldn't have to worry about a lot of things. Your body is self-contained. So as you fast, you create a very pure environment. And I'm not a medical doctor. I cannot give advice, but I'm sure if you looked it up, there's a reason they say do not eat for 24 hours before taking medications or even giving blood samples. Maybe there's something that happens in your blood, in your body, maybe that purifies it. So when we pray, we fast. So I personally, it happens on its own. I regulate my eating on my own. So if I notice that I'm going too far with it, my body stops being hungry. So I regulate it and I pull it back. I had to gain a lot of weight to get that. I had to gain a lot of weight. I regulate my schedules, when I wake up, when I go to sleep, things like that. You want to get control of your sexual nature, your sexual desires, your spending. All of these behaviors, they tie back to a part of you. And so you're decreasing the amount of things that can externally manipulate your behavior. So people don't stimulate you a certain way and cause you to react a certain way. You're decreasing the likelihood that somebody could come around and say something and trigger you or pull you into another place. You're practicing self-control, self-mastery. All of these different things come together to break you out of tough situations, not just gang stalking, tough situations. If money is tough, things look bad, motivation is, give me a second, motivation is low, whatever it is that's occurring, these things, self-mastery, one second, self-mastery gives you an opportunity to not be self-mastery gives you an opportunity to not be emotionally impacted by changing circumstances around you. You cannot change circumstances. You can only control yourself. So if you do not have control over yourself, you do not have control over your responses, any wild wind that blows, it controls how you behave. And once you're out of control of yourself, you're at the whim and mercy of nature. You did not come here for things to be good all the time. Things are going to be rough sometimes. They're going to be tough. But you didn't come here for constant easy sailing. Easy sailing is like a lunch break between classes, and then you got to get back to class, and then you're going to be tested in class. You learn a lesson and you don't move on until you finish the lesson. Hopefully you get through this life and you've learned all your lessons. That's what you're here for. Everything you learn contributes to the next thing that you're going to go, and you're going to keep ranking up more and more and more. You earn this. You earn this. It is not given. Getting out of gang stalking is the same as mastering yourself. The minute you master yourself, you're going to start manifesting yourself out. So what are you going to learn from Abraham Hicks? You're going to learn how to be positive. You're going to learn how to find your light body, your light side, the good in you, activate it, and how to jump in and out of it when needed, because you need to be in a very high vibration to combat all the low vibrations that are coming at you. So that's number 2. You're going to learn how to manifest, how to work with adjusting your vibration. Give me a second, gotta get my charger. Boy, I feel disorganized today. I've had to get off camera to go get a billion things for the one live stream. Not good. It's not me normally. But anyway, my phone's dying and I didn't want to delay coming online. Yeah, you gotta master yourself. You have to master yourself to master this thing. She will teach you manifestation, and then when you're really ready, when she's pulled you out far enough, you're gonna learn about something called co-creation. And co-creation is when you touch the spiritual side for the thing you've been struggling to do here by yourself. There's no reason why you're trying to create a reality by yourself when you have access to infinite knowledge and genius level energy. Why are you living your life in a way that is uncomfortable? Why are you living your life in a way that is not happy? Why do you not have peace? You don't need to live like this. There are better ways to live. So she's going to bring you to the beginning of this entire journey, and you're going to do it while you're being gang stalked. You're going to learn. You're going to learn how to be in charge of how people perceive you. You're going to learn how to be in charge of how people receive you. You're going to learn how to love people. You're going to learn how to love yourself. You're going to learn how to be light enough to carry light beings with you, to bring angels forth to you, the ones that are for you. You're going to also think of a family member who's passed away who you truly love, one that you feel comfortable with, one that you feel, one that you love, one that you trust more than anything. The trust is most important. And this is who you're going to talk to. You're just going to talk. You're going to, because right now you're by yourself, you're isolated. If you're doing this thing correctly, that you're isolated. If you're not doing this thing correctly, there are people around you and you're probably experiencing a bunch of, you know, God knows. But one thing you're going to do is, hold on. One thing you're gonna do, I've lost my train of thought after saying one thing you're gonna do for the third time. I've lost my train of thought, can't remember. Anyway, yes, those are the things you want to do to start your spiritual journey. Oh yeah, there is. If you're isolated and you're by yourself a fair bit of time, then you know you can reach out. You know, I was very close to my grandmother. I talk about it all the time. I would talk to her, tell her my problems, ask her for help with things, and it's a very healthy place to start. And then the process will carry itself from there for you in the way that it is supposed to. You really have to learn. You have to learn to live another way. You have to learn to be positive, and you do not want to walk this earth hating people. If you hate people as you walk around, it is going to be a very sorry, sad existence. It will be a waste of existence. You would have wasted the entire lifetime just by hating it here. People are lovely. I like people. People aren't always lovely, but you know, you can, the more you understand people, the more you perceive people, you know, the more you, the easier it is to just accept them for who they are and you understand. So, you know, being a very loving person is not really about just overlooking the bad about in people. Being a very loving person is about really understanding people. That's why you have to open up your heart. You have to open up your heart chakra in order to really elevate. There's a reason why God loves people so much. People are pleasant. People are lovely. It's not the people that are issues. It's all the factors all around. And there's a lot of stuff going on. And it's not to take accountability away from people and what they've done, but the more you can understand people, the more you can be empathetic, try to feel what they feel, the more you're going to understand where they're coming from. That takes a long time. It takes a long time to master that. You have to master so many wounds and traumas in yourself. Because in order to accept that, okay, I can understand where this person's coming from, that means there's a possibility to understand where a person, the last couple people who've hurt you, have come from. It is impossible to accept that there is a way to explain somebody's behavior, no matter how deplorable, while at the same time not being able to accept the behavior of those who hurt you. Both have to be true, because those who hurt you are people too. So you have to heal internally. You have to heal from the people who've hurt you. This is why shadow work is so it's difficult. It's not easy, and it takes time, and there's no timer. Healing work is just as important as self-mastery, as manifestation, as all of it. Healing is critical to getting all of it working. You got to heal first. You want true power, you need power over yourself. And then when you carry enough light, you can attract everything that you need just by being a blessing everywhere that you go. This is not transactional, so you cannot look at it in a transactional way, because people do not come into relationships to give 50-50. Sometimes things look different. It's hard to measure what is the value of swimming versus flying. It's different. Leads me to the point that I have to make. What is my opinion of the correct way to approach the spiritual world? My opinion is based on where I am now and the lessons that I've learned now. So if I'm speaking to people who are still being gang stalked, who are struggling with things, then I think my opinion is pretty valuable. Now, is it going to be the same amount of value as someone who's been to actual physical war and had bombs dropping around them all the time? Maybe not, but I'm just giving my opinion. What's worked for me, I assume can work for others as well. The first thing to do or to consider is that the spiritual world is not transactional. It can be, but that is not the way that you want to approach it. First of all, you'll have to accept a few things. We're talking about spiritual world. We're talking about energy. You'll have to accept a few things. You'll have to accept that as human beings, we are born into human families, and we come into these families on purpose. We also travel spiritually together as a pack as well. All kinds of things are happening behind the veil, but we get help over here from the spirit world. There's a lot of people that believe, my father's watching down for me from heaven and this and that and all this kind of stuff. Spirits work together a lot better than human beings work together. A lot better. They come together and they figure things out. It's almost like they trade. So it's almost like when your father needs something, he'll contact my grandmother and they'll decide that we should meet. They'll make a plan. And I meet you and I help you for no particular reason whatsoever. It just makes me feel good and I go about my way. And that could have possibly been a favor that was owed. Who knows how it works, but it works like that. In my ascension, everything has been slowed down and made dramatically obvious to the point that I cannot ignore what is happening here. You want to be around spirit families that genuinely love each other, that are not transactional. What does that mean? If you're in a spirit family or human family or community or cult where people only care about each other if there is money to be made, they can happily watch anybody sink and care less. You want to be a part of a family where people do things out of love. When people do things out of love, they do so at a loss to themselves. They do so out of pain to themselves. They keep going. And for people that they don't even know personally, they keep going. This is our spiritual family. This is a spiritual family that works off of love. People who don't know me go through incredible rounds of spell work and abuse to bring me messages that'll wake me up. And then once I wake up, I go through incredible amounts of spell work and abuse to help wake other people up. And that is how we keep going. It is done out of love for the way that we are being taken care of. So we have parents that have set an example of how they love us. And so we have an example already, a blueprint of how to love others. It is an incredibly safe space. Spiritually, I'm going to give a story. One time, I'm not going to make it too long. One time I had to go to a trade show. It wasn't that serious. It wasn't that great, but it was our first one. It wasn't even a trade show. It was a local market. And I got a U-Haul and I didn't need it. And the U-Haul was like, let's say it costed like $80 for the U-Haul. It was more money than I needed to spend to go to that show. But anyways, I looked, our company looked professional. We came home, but on the way back, I decided I wanted ice cream from IKEA. And we didn't want ice cream. My daughter and I looked at each other and were like, we don't care. But I did a U-turn in the middle of the road with a U-Haul truck to go back into the IKEA. Went in there. My daughter didn't even care enough to come inside with me. I go inside. I get the ice creams. We barely eat it. Now, on my way in, I seen these people kind of like looking at me in a way. And then they were kind of like nervous and maybe talking to each other. Now, remember, I'm being gang stalked, so I'm noticing this behavior. I'm like, okay, I notice it, but I ignore things like that. I just walk through this stuff now, right? And I was coming out, and the wife approached me, and the husband was by the door with all of this furniture. And she approached me and she was like, excuse me, can we pay you to give us a ride home? We have a couch, we have some stuff. Is it okay? And I was like, Lord, please don't let it be gang stalkers. If I wasn't being gang stalked, I'd be like, obviously throw it in the back. But I was like, please don't let this be gang stalkers. It's some stupid plot. They put the stuff in and he wants to be at the back with this. I'm like, no, you need to sit at the front. So I risk these two people plus my daughter in the front seat of the U-Haul that only houses two people, drove them home. And I'm like, look, it is 9 o'clock on a Sunday. IKEA's closing right now, or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I'm like, you would have been stuck. Like, Uber doesn't have vans big enough to carry the stuff you just bought. There was no doubt in my mind when they paid me after, and I tried to tell them no, and I tried to refuse it. They must have given me $40 or something. I tried to refuse it, and they wouldn't hear anything of it. And in the car, they were the ride. They were telling me like how difficult it had been to like migrate over and all the things that have happened and whatever. And when I dropped them off, I said, if they don't pray, that's their ancestors that arranged that. It's like putting out a call into the universe. And it's like some sort of universal dispatcher is like, who is the closest person that we have on site to deal with this? That is how you're taken care of. This is not because you owe well, we don't know if you owe any debts, but this is because you operate out of a place of love. So you're tapped into that network, the place of love. So you give out of love. Therefore, people give you out of love. And it's just like, it's just a never ending cycle. It's like the more you want to give them is the more they give you. And it's almost like you guys are competing for who to make happier, you know? Not, yes, in your one-on-one relationships as well. Obviously, you want that, but just in the way that you give to the world and the way the world gives back to you. I think that's one of the tougher things that gets stripped from you during gang stalking is you're like, wait, where did my happiness with like humanity go? And they do that intentionally because they study you and they see what you like and they see the way that you enjoy life and they want to turn you dark. It's not that they want to strip things from you. They want to turn you dark. They want to turn you evil. They want to turn you to another version of yourself. So this is why you need to learn manifestation. You need to learn how to jump in and out of your shadow. From the shadow to the light is a huge jump. So you have to practice living in the middle and dip in and out in different versions of yourself as you need. You're not just one person. You don't just house one spirit. When you get good at it, um, you know, it's a spirituality can be a beautiful journey where you let go. As soon as you have the appropriate guides and protection, you can let go and you can just swim. You can let go and you can just enjoy. You can enjoy. Um, there's a lot of danger out there. Do not get me wrong. Please do not get me wrong. But you know, you get your peace. You get your peace every once in a while. Um, After gang stalking, you're gonna get your peace, and your job is to heal. Your job is to start healing during gang stalking. Do not wait. This is an incredible amount of pressure to endure. Do not underestimate the effects that it's having on you, even if you feel great. You will have PTSD. I have a bit of PTSD as well. I do. I do. Um, it's not maybe noticeable to people, but you know, and you know what, to be fair, I still have periods of times where I am a little gang stalked. It's not consistent, it's not heavy pressure, but there's still times they catch me every now and again. Sometimes I'm driving by and like cars honk at me out of like, I know, let you know when a car's honking at you, like, you know. So there's things that happen where it's like, oh, okay, well, they're probably telling me to go, you know, F myself because it didn't work. People are out of money. I'm sure there's a whole community, if not just more than one, that's really pissed off at me because they were supposed to make money off of my persecution, and I that didn't happen, you know. Um, but you got to start healing while you're inside. You do. Um, you got to know that spiritual law applies to everyone, that there is karma. Everyone, nobody is too special. That is the those are the rules of the human flesh suit. Like, everybody faces karma. Spirits have to also abide by spiritual law. There is, listen, it is what it is. So you have to conduct yourself in a certain way. You have to conduct yourself in a certain way. Um, People who leave money for spirit and, you know, they do these, the way people approach spirituality when they do black magic, I am of the opinion, I don't think this is the way to be. I think this attracts way too much karma. There's a better way to approach the spiritual world. It's a very antagonistic way for people to approach spirituality because I feel like the spiritual world, you make enemies too, and these are not enemies like, you know, on earth where you can run. You can't run from enemies in the spirit world. Everything in the spirit world is visible to those who can see. People have different levels of sight, but those who can see. So they're gonna find you. You know, like, you make issues with people's ancestors, it's permanent. They don't have memory loss when they're not transitioning lifetimes where they have memory loss. They get to keep accumulated memory. So you want to make allies, as many as possible, than enemies. It's tough living when there are enemies. You know, when you're a light person, when you carry a lot of light, you notice that a lot of people are always upset around you. And that's because they have attachments that are enemies to probably your people, your ancestors. And that's why they never liked you. You ask yourself, like, what have I done to people? Like, is something like, I'm nice, I'm this and that, like, what's going on? Yeah, people just don't like you on sight. And I know that part of people not wanting me to wake up is because they knew that I would wake other people up. I wouldn't keep it to myself and happily move on in quiet. I would wake other people up. I would tell other people what's going on, and I would tell them how to leave. So, you know, this is something that we need to talk about more and more. We need to talk about our personal experiences more and more, and give other people insight in how to overcome things. We need to be more vocal about those things. That is a form of therapy. Not everybody can afford to, or in the case of gang stalking, is it safe to seek outside help, but it's incredibly therapeutic and healing to listen to how other people overcame things. One of the biggest ways that it's healing is because it gives you the hope that you too one day will be healed. And I know I give people hope when I come on here and I tell you the truth. I give you hope that one day you can be healed. And let me tell you, right now, if I said you would never experience another day where you're not 100% gang stalked, but you can reduce it by 90%, would you not take that? Abso-freaking-lutely. You'd be like, sign me up right now. I'm telling you, I have days where 100% I am not gang stalked. Not internally in here, not outside on the street, nothing. Like, the world is back to normal. I didn't have to move cities. I didn't have to do all of that. This is what I give to you. But I can only give you all of the things that I did. You got to apply it to your situation. You got to be smart. You got to be strategic. You got to be quiet with your plans and your ideas. You got to learn from your lessons. You got to heal. You got to protect yourself. There is so much to it because it's a 360-degree attack, which requires a 360-degree solution. They're attacking a lot more than just your physical, finding your physical body. I want to mention, how does spirit speak? Spirit speaks through synchronicities. Synchronicities are a whole set of synchronicities is like, it's like a spiritual signature on like a page where you know, oh, or like a symbol, like a logo, like, oh, that's spirit. It's not random. They want you to know it's them. They want you to know. So for example, sometimes I'll get a solution to a problem where I go from being stressed out about the problem and it's like I'm under a dome of peace and trustfulness and faith and knowing that everything's going to be fine. And then it'll be like the same person the entire way through. So it'll be like all Indian people are helping me. It's like all of a sudden the whole world is Indian around me and those are the only people helping me. You know, or it'll be like, it's like the same thing gang stalkers do. Gang stalkers want you to know what's going on, so they need an element of wanting you to know what's happening, but in such a subtle way. So it could be noise campaigns or everybody wearing red, and it's like stuff they already do, but in the spiritual realm, they do the same things as well. That's why I said gang stalking is applying spiritual principles to, well, at least what I just came out of, the gang stalking to lock me into, you know, a binding spiritual contract. They apply a lot of spiritual law. They apply a lot of that stuff to what they do to bind you into a spiritual community, a spiritual family. And this is what you try to get out of. You will get out of. And then you find yourself in your actual family, your actual spiritual family, where you belong, where you will be taken care of, where you have protection, where you will be defended, where nothing can come and take you out of it. Once you're binded in the spirit to your family, you're in. You have to decide to leave, and they won't let you. Not that they won't let you in a hostage situation, but they'll constantly remind you, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? And you won't want to leave. After you've been through gang stalking and you've been through like what has, you know, it's not safe out there. You worked hard for this. Spirit speaks through omens, and signs and wonders is what they call it in the Bible, signs and wonders. Omens are when you keep getting warnings. You know what an omen is. I gotta stop this. Your intuition is speaking loud. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. I gotta stop. Right? Those are omens. Signs, you know, you can see yourself being walked right back out of a situation. Like, I am back energetically and spiritually back to the beginning of this cycle. Everything from where I live to what I do, just I'm back to the beginning. I went down my dark corridor, I did my time, and now I can get out. There is nothing anyone can do as that cycle closes. The cycle just closes on people. If people get crushed in the door as the portal closes and they can't follow you in, then they get crushed in the door. You can't follow people into their new cycles and their new beginnings when you just weren't written in there. So, you know, it is what it is. Ringing of the ears, messages can be anything from driving on the side of the road and seeing a billboard, seeing an ad. These are things that people try to do all the time to communicate with me. Is I'll see an ad, or I'll see a license plate number, or a number on a phone number, or something, or the time that corresponds to a particular person who is energetically calling on to me. You got to know what calls to answer and what calls to not, because it all works the same. Those are what you would describe as come to me spells. Oh, I remember this person, and hopefully it triggers memories and blah blah blah. But when you close out a cycle, you close out a cycle. You don't need memories, you don't need any of that. Scrap it. We're done. The cycle's done. It's done. It doesn't matter how long they call you. They could call you, you could watch the phone ring, and then you can put it back on do not disturb. You know, it is what it is. Spirit can speak through companions, through children, through tarot readers, through people on the streets, through friends they bring in just for a particular purpose to get you on a particular road. Everything is working in your favor. You cannot escape your destiny if you want to. What makes you think that gang stalkers or anybody on the outside can? You will be walked in and then you will be walked out. And believe me, this is one cycle that once you've completed it, you're like, thank you, God, that it is over. I don't know what's wrong with my light today. It doesn't want to stay up. You'll be like, thank you, God, it is over. I am so happy. I couldn't wait. I've been praying for this. Amazing to see it work. You know, your hard work come through. Where am I? So yes, spirit will speak to you. You got to recognize that voice. There's other ways that spirit speaks in sentences, and it's like a language that you must learn, but I'm not gonna go into that now. But these are basic things that if you're entering into the spirit world that you should know. Karma is very real here. It is one of the number one laws. You need to pay attention. It doesn't negotiate. It's not on anybody's time, but it is equal and proportionate to what you've done, if not more. Karma knows how to get you. And sometimes it takes a while because it is really preparing a table for you to sit at. It is not rushed. There is such a thing as spiritual hits put together by the universe to take you down. And it will happen. It will happen. You have to trust that it will happen. If spirit wants something to end, it will end. If something that's being done brings an imbalance to the world, it will end. At any cost, it will end. But before you go, you must experience yourself because you must learn that lesson. Learning a lesson is not like a negotiable thing. You can not want to learn a lesson and still learn the lesson. So it will happen. You will see yourself in the same situations you created for people. You will see yourself suffer in the same ways that you've made people suffer. And then you're going to realize your energy. You're going to realize your energy. You get to experience your energy. It comes back, good or bad. Good energy comes back as well. You keep putting out positivity and all that. It's not to say negativity is not going to be there, but there's going to be a level of positivity that maybe if you've enjoyed for a very long time, you will realize, oh my goodness, not everybody has that. Not everybody has that life experience. So you do get to experience yourself good, bad, or indifferent. And it's important for people to experience themselves. It's the only way for people to truly understand what they have done to other people. It's the only way to understand how they've made up other people feel is to experience it themselves. Like someone can teach you a lesson by explaining it on like a chalkboard, but when you feel it, when you endure it, then you really have digested it. Whether you want to accept it or not, you have to digest what you've done. So that's what it is. The universe likes to experience itself. Okay. I might as well go into this because I'm already on the topic. So I talked about spiritual hits. Um, I call it a spiritual hit because some things are a takedown. You'll know when it's a takedown when somebody has done something for a very long time and has been very insulated and put themselves in a situation where they felt they were untouchable, and all of a sudden they got taken down and it was public and it was all over the world and they were famous for it. We have a few names, OJ Simpson being one of them. Well, he wasn't taken down somehow, but you know. But it's like that. Cases that are so prolific that you remember them. And it's not just in that way. There can be other forms of takedown as well. Maybe it's a situation where it's not going to be the police. It's going to be like jungle justice or street justice or whatever, right? There are levels of planning that go into that. It's almost like people incarnate, energies incarnate in life just for that specific event. Energies have come here just to take down other energies that have caused an imbalance. That means that they've been being trained from a very long time, from almost conception, to have the correct, it's like how they train spies from children, but it's spiritual and you don't know you're being trained, but you have the lessons that you need to survive this. You have the skills, the life skills to survive it, to survive dangerous situations, to survive situations where whatever it is that your challenges, your life moving forward, whatever it is you need for that, they train the spies, the agents, the assassins. You're trained. You're trained for takedown. So you need not worry. There is insane protection, insane protection. But you gotta listen, you gotta tap in. And the guidance is lifelong. Once you get on this spiritual journey, it is lifelong. Once you put light to your altar, it stays on to your very last day. It stays on. You don't want to do this journey alone spiritually. You can't. That's not what you're here for. As soon as you're on track and you've decided to go against the grain and you've decided to take on a spiritual journey, then you are automatically in service to the spirit world, but you just don't know what side you're on. Or you choose what side you're on. If you're on the dark side, you're over there. If you're on the light side, you're over here. And that's how you operate, because once you're spiritual, once you're psychic, once you could see things, once you have any spiritual gifts, somebody's coming to get you. They're going to fight over you. As soon as you wake up and you tap in, they're going to go to war over you. Well, maybe they don't need to go to war for some people. Some people just are easily swayed and manipulated. But in the beginning, that's what it felt like. It felt like a war. It felt like an all-out war for me. Like, what side am I going to go to? And so I had to, I won't say I had to choose, because it was like very obvious. Like I've already made my decision. Like I know my spirit team, but people would have loved to turn me dark. For sure. Love to turn me dark. So it is very upsetting, I'm sure, for a lot of people to see me online still loving and helping people and loving life and having a smile on my face. It is very important to keep your smile, but you will have guidance. The universe has an incredible amount of patience, and you have to learn your lessons, and you're going to be guided. So it's like, just go on the journey. Just like, it's like being on a motorcycle. You got to loosen up. You can't tense up when the cycle goes left to right. Like, you got to just loosen up and just take the ride. The universe is always planting secret agents all over. And the best form of a secret agent is an agent who doesn't know they're a secret agent. They cannot be drilled for information, because when they say no, they're honestly thinking so. There are people who don't know they're witches online, reading tarot, praying to Jesus. You're reading tarot, reading spirit, and praying to Jesus. And how comes you can see other spirits, but Jesus hasn't turned up? None of these people will tell you Jesus came to me in a dream. Jesus showed up. I've met so many spirits. I've never met Jesus. And we were Christian. I grew up Christian. So it doesn't, I don't know. Take it how you will. But you will be planted in certain places, and then you'll be activated at the right time. You will learn who you are, you'll learn what your life's about, you'll learn all of it, and you'll be activated. um Careful strategy has gone into your life and your life path and your life purpose. You need to look at it like this. A normal person would say to themselves, thank you, God, for taking care of me through so many hard times. And actually, what's happening is you're being placed in hard times on purpose, so they have to take care of you. That's it. Your hard service, you getting over these trials, is of service to the universe. You learning how to stand up for yourself puts you in a position where you can stand up for others and teach other people how to stand up for themselves. You loving yourself puts you in a position where just by existing around people, you teach them how to love themselves. You trigger people into growth. You don't have to teach anyone anything. People learn by observing. That's how children learn. That's how we all learn. That's why the TV plays out life in a certain way, so that you can learn by observing how other people are doing it. So, a lot of strategy has gone into this. They have planned for your personality. The spirit knows how to trigger you to everything. They know how to get you to react, and they will continue implementing triggers over and over until you react by the time you need to. They will continue triggering you. They know you better than you know yourself. It's like how gang stalkers study you, same thing. Gang stalkers are learning you. Spirit already knows you. So, you know, I wouldn't worry about anything. When God says it's this way, it's that way, period. Um, Everything is always working out for you. There is a bowl of gold at the end of every tough cycle, and that is literal material. I have upgraded after every cycle of abuse. So I knew the karma on this one was going to be bigger than normal, and I know that life is going to be bigger than normal after this. It is going to be amazing. That is just me, and I have decided that it will. I'm committed to that. So this is also a phase of healing as well. It's not linear, as I've said all the time. It's not linear. It's not, but it's one foot in front of the other. It might be a slower path, but it's very consistent. It's very reliable, and people don't really notice you when you're going really, really, really slow, because it looks like you're not moving, and all of a sudden you were there and now you're all the way over there. And it just took a little bit longer. That's it. Little bit longer. The longer path is a solid path. You go too fast, you lose it just as fast. You got to take your time. You got to build properly. You got to know. You learn lessons in the building. You learn lessons in the demolition. You learn lessons in trials. You learn lessons everywhere. So everything is working out for you, from rebuilding. You're learning life, and you're learning it from where you are right now, with the new journey, with the new knowledge that you've acquired, and you're implementing that knowledge, integrating it into everything that you have, making it a regular part of your routine, of your toolbox to move forward. That's why you learned it, because you needed it. And you're not, I think, I'm of the feeling that you're not necessarily constantly being tested, but you learned it because you're encountering the same thing over and over. So eventually you got to get to a point where you know it. You got to figure it out. And I already said the last point. Every time, think about the last times you've had to suffer in life. The last huge hurdles that you've had in life, you were rewarded every time. You got upgraded every single time. It just came to you. The blessings just came to you. If you don't learn your lessons, you're stuck in stagnancy, and you're stuck in a place where you're not growing, and you're stuck in the same place all the time. And you're going to be stuck. You can't move. You can't have a new beginning. You can't grow because you're not doing the right things. This is what you're here for. You're here to learn. You're here to partner with spirit, and you're here for spirit to guide you, to put your feet on the right path as much as possible. So you have to get to a state where you learn that everything is a lesson, and you look at your gang stalking journey no different. Everything is a lesson, and everything is here to teach you. I am going to do a card of the day as I wrap this up. Thank you for everybody who sat through my message for today. I hope I'm helping you guys. And I hope you can take something from everything that I give out. I believe in crystals. I talk about crystals on this channel as a huge part of healing. I believe that there is a crystal to heal everything. Crystals, I have them under the category of body or health. As I said, I'm gonna do another video talking about categories of healing and different healing methods, and I'm gonna put crystals on there. I got three cards, but I'm only going to read one. So the card I got today was SODALITE. It's a blue card kind of with like a marble inflection. I don't know if that's focusing. SODALITE has to do with logic and intuition. The vibration is high. Healing a disordered mind, restoring normal functioning of intuitive perception, and encouraging rational thought. Restoring normal functioning of intuitive perception, PTSD relief, healing the damage done by negative conditioning. SODALITE facilitates reception and integration of new information, receiving new information and integrating it into your spiritual body. It releases the inhibitory control mechanisms such as guilt, shame, fear that are holding you back from being who you truly are, enhancing self-esteem, self-acceptance, and self-trust. You got to trust yourself. You got to believe in yourself. To have a new beginning, it takes faith. Didn't I know that? Yes. I didn't trust my new beginning. I would get pissed off because every time I would try to take something, they would knock it out my hands. Every time I would try something, somebody would sabotage in some way. And God keeps saying, keep going, keep going, keep going. And every time they shut a door, I had to pick myself back up, have faith in myself, and open a new door. Every time they shut something down, I'd have to be like, okay, what is another way? Or how can I do this in another way? Well, I got to employ different things. I got to save some of my money now. I got to take things slow. I got to watch my spending. I got to this, I got to that, I got to this, I got to that. But I kept going until finally you can see signs, you can see life, you can see little plants. At which point you're so aggressive when people start messing with your little seed that's rising out of the ground, like you will chop somebody's hands off. That's how you gotta get. You keep going with your new beginning, you keep pushing forward, you keep doing what it is that you gotta do over and over and over again. You keep trying a new way. That is what it takes, persistence and really being strong up here to say, I am going to keep going. I'm not going to quit, because one of us is going to get tired of this and it's not going to be me. You're going to know when you wake up in the morning that whatever you do, I am not changing my mind about giving up on myself. And that's what you need. You just need to keep going with blind faith. So inhibitory control mechanisms is basically saying, I have built systems inside of me that are stopping me from progress. And these systems, as per this card, it's saying guilt is one of them. Feeling guilty to leave a situation that is not good for me because it's my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, but they're holding me back. Feeling shame, feeling fearful. These are negative, low vibrational emotions that make you feel bad for doing what is supposed to be done for you. This is about you. This is a you journey. You're here on your own. You got to take steps forward and do what's right for you. Uniting logic with intuition, it is important. It is a lesson I had to learn. You are not just here to be just spiritual. You got to be logical too. You are a human being. If you're when you first ascend, you're so spiritual that you think spirit can just come here and tie your shoelaces for you. You guys tie your own shoelaces. I call it giving them something to bless. They need something to work with. You don't give them anything, they have nothing to work with. Give them something to bless. You must try something. So this stone unites the logical mind with the intuition. SODALITE opens up spiritual inner sight, bringing information from the higher mind to the physical level. So you can meditate with SODALITE because it's for logic with intuition. So this would be really good for meditating to communicate and receive messaging. Sodalite relieves the symptoms of dyslexia and dyspraxia. Bringing emotional balance, it calms panic attacks. The stone creates harmony in group work. On the body, it's good for lymphatic system, immune and digestive systems, metabolism, internal organs, and the throat. And on the spirit body, it stimulates the third eye and deepens meditative states. I thought this was a meditative stone. This is what sodalite looks like. Get you a crystal. Like you can get a loose crystal like this. This is my smoky quartz, very good for psychic attacks. I put it on my head, on my skin. I love my stone. I like raw stones whenever possible over polished stones because they disintegrate, especially these salt-based crystals. They disintegrate as you use them, and you can see the amount of wear and tear on them, and I do appreciate that. I like that. And these are the stones that don't require cleaning. Well, I clean them anyway, but you know, they don't really require it. This is an amazing stone. Wow, that was so much for one stone. And I think it ties in really well with everything that I was talking about, the need to meditate, and being that I'm talking to people who are predominantly going through gang stalking trauma, panic attacks, and meditating and calming your mind and all of that, because meditation is not easy when you're in a panic. You must breathe, slow it down, bring yourself to a peaceful place in order to get yourself where you need to go spiritually. But never fear, that is part of what you're here to learn. So it is, you're on a learning journey. You're not on a judgmental journey. No one's judging how quickly, or commitment is what wins this race now. So spirit messages cards, this one flipped right out. So this says, whenever you talk to us, it never goes unheard. We hear every single word. That is your confirmation that we are assisting you, guiding you, and ensuring your wishes finally come to fruition. Be patient. Everything will come together for you. My journey took 2 years. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I was under a tyrant for 2 years. Narcissistic abuse, okay? Everything that I talked about, this is what's coming with the cards. This is just confirmation. This is how spirit works. This is how spirit talks to you. Every time I pull a card, this is because somebody out there needs what I'm talking about. Sodalite, I'm going to put it in maybe the description of this video so that you know how to spell it, so that you can go get it. It's literally spelled like soda, S-O-D-A, and light, L-I-T-E, sodalite. That's it. L-I-T-E, not L-I-G-H-T, L-I-T-E. There's a better way to approach spirituality than to just be transactional and to use one spell to cover up another set of karma, to pass karma around. It's like you're on a tightrope, and eventually it is going to break. You're just on this tightrope until it breaks, because it will break. You want to collect allies. You want to make as little or few enemies as possible. You want to get healing when you need to. You want to make it to where you need to go on time. There are portals that you need to go through at the right time, or else they close forever. You got to trust your spirit guides. Only they know. Only they know when, where, and how. They may send you messages, you know, and maybe I should list all of this stuff that I talked about here, you know, how does spirit speak and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll list that in the cover, I guess the cover pic of this live. But you know, God gives all the information, that the spirit world, universe gives us everything that we need, and it's just a matter of us recognizing it, putting things into practice, you know, paying attention, slowing down enough to understand what's going on around us, you know, and just know that things come full circle, and as long as you learn the lessons, you get to break out. And if you don't learn the lesson, then you're stuck inside. You know, and you got to get in at the right time or else the door closes on you. So you need help. You need help. You need help from the spirit world. Anyway, that is all for today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share on your feed or your community section so that somebody else who's subscribed to you may be able to see it as well, and that YouTube knows that you like these videos that I make, and also lets me see some growth on the channel, because each one teach one. It's very important information. And unlike a lot of people who do give out information to gang stalkers or gang stalking victims, I am not, this is something I had to say actually, I am not just automatically anti-gang stalkers or hate all gang stalkers. Reason beginning being that I was being groomed to be a gang stalker in the beginning. In the beginning, they had me trying to have behaviors that essentially that gang stalkers do. And I feel like they take time to groom you. And in the beginning, they would have me like, go like this profile, or go to this business, or this person that I know does this or that. And it was like this pressure to support these people that I don't know, or always like these people's pictures or whatever. And I know that other people were doing that to me because a bunch of my followers are not even real followers. So I think that is the first step they take to making you into a gang stalker, to morally bankrupt you, to break some type of law with you, that they are then gonna literally use against you to get you arrested later on, some type of evidence on you. I think that that's very intentional on what they do. And I know that they have a lot of gang stalkers trapped. You know, and I got to stay in long enough to see it. That's why I had to stay longer. But one of the many reasons I had to stay in very long, like much longer, because I had to complete a cycle. It wasn't just dependent on me breaking out spiritually or me learning my personal lessons. It was also about seeing the experience of other people. And so I have to be careful not to be too judgmental about people, because I don't know their full story. And this is why it's important for people to be brave enough to tell their story. I think that people gang stalking me, even trolling me on here, have come to realize by listening, like there's more to the story that they don't know. There are more things occurring here that they don't know. And if that's all that I can do is to make them aware of things and to make them see things a little bit more clearly, then, you know, then I've done a little bit of my job. You're being manipulated to carry people's karma, to carry out the dirty work that people want done on their behalf. You're carrying out people's karma. So be super careful. I mean, you know, learn as much as you can. And that is all I have to say today. Thank you. And I'm going to be sure to put up my healing video and give as much insight as I can. Have a great day. Bye-bye.